Hey,
Oh, okay, good. Hi,
hi. I'm
how
so
are you?
sorry. I don't know what happened.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Now we're here. Oh my God, I broke a sweat. Okay, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good. Hi
Fine.
guys, how are you?
Hi,
Hi,
good you?
good
So
you?
good to see you guys.
I miss you so much. We miss you
Yeah,
all.
I miss you guys like you don't understand. It's like eating at me every day.
same.
I watch your post. This is like the perfect thing for someone who's home because I watch you guys and I'm like, oh, okay. At least I can see their faces. So
We
it's
were
good.
like, we were organizing the lives and we're like, okay, what if we do guests and stuff like that? And then Mane was like, we should invite Miss Alik. I'm like, oh, what a good idea. Let's hope she can.
I'm so flattered. How are you? How's everything?
We're
Good.
good. We're doing our best, you
Good.
know.
How are the lives going? I've been keeping up these past couple of days. They seem to be going very well. No
Yeah.
one had difficulties like me at the beginning, so I'm assuming it's better than what happened with us today.
Yeah. But no. We'll see
It's
how it
fine, it's fine.
goes.
It happens.
Yeah, it's fine.
It happens
Okay.
technically.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not our fault.
It reminds us that we're not robots, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, should we get into it?
Of course.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay.
So our topic is toxic friendships and relationships.
Well, you guys chose the perfect topic for me. I swear.
Really?
This is ideal. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
But I have to disclaim something. I'm not a professional
Yeah, none of us are.
psychologist,
Yeah, none of us
and
are.
I don't want anybody to at me after and tell me "Well, you said this, you said that. Like, so this is my own personal opinion and experiences.
Yeah.
So that just has to be clear right off the bat. You know,
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
you might hear my son, so just
It's
letting you
okay.
know
It's fine.
this is all natural in this household. So it's good.
He should come as well. It's okay.
No,
Yeah.
no. Level of anxiety will rise with his attendance.
Okay, so when you hear the words mental health, what comes into your mind? Like, what's the first thing that pops out?
So when I think about mental health, I think it helps that these past couple of years, we've been focusing a lot on how to take care of ourselves and how to give ourselves like those days if we need them. So when I think about mental health, it's really about just taking the time that your body needs and your brain needs to like just recenter and refocus. I don't necessarily think of it as a negative thing. I know some people associate mental health with negative connotation or issues, problems. It's not always about that for me. So when I do think about mental health, it's just like taking care of your physical body. You have to take care of what goes on in your brain and you have to take care of your emotions. So I think it's as important as any other domain in your life. And I think it's good that we keep repeating that to younger people. And I think it's also good for adults because I think there's a certain age where they think that everything that happens around them is just supposed to be that way. And they don't take the time to focus on what is good for them and how it's healthy for them. So I think it's important to reiterate these things to the adults and older generations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, and what are your thoughts and opinions about like this specific subject, like toxic relationships?
Toxic relationships. So I think it's a very touchy topic. Like, I hope I don't offend anybody when I'm going to talk about it today. I think the thing with toxic relationships is a lot of people view it as one-sided. That person is toxic. But in reality, I think that toxicity has a way of creeping into the friendship and relationship. And it just makes the 2 people, the 3 people, the 4 people, whoever's involved, whatever nucleus we're talking about, I think it just makes everyone toxic at some point because toxicity has a way of
Spreading.
expanding. Yeah, like this virus, you know, it doesn't just stay in one place, I think. So I think that's the common misconception that people have that, oh, that person is toxic. But you kind of have to see yourself in that relationship too. And if you really don't want it to be toxic, like, you have to get out, you know, but you're also a key player in that domain. So we always have to acknowledge that things don't just happen to us. We are also part of that conversation or those actions. So I think we always have to take it back and like evaluate how we played a role in that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because people always like say, oh, like play the victim. They play the victim. But you know, sometimes you have to look at yourself too and be like, maybe I was the problem.
Yeah. So there's this saying that every time you point a finger, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So every time you find someone at fault, you know, there's something. If there's always the problem with the people around you, you might be the problem as well.
Exactly.
I'm not saying you're toxic. It's just you have to, you know. And I think it's bad that we use the word toxic. I mean, I'm also like, I'm also guilty of it because it's just a common sentence and phrase that comes around when we talk about these types of things. But like, toxic has such a poisonous, like, the connotation to it that it just makes you like right off the bat dislike the person or you know, distance yourself from that person. But in reality, it might just be a misunderstanding, a miscommunication, and it's not toxicity in and of itself, you know, because people, you know, they have bad days. So it's okay to have, if we're talking about mental health, it's okay to have bad days.
What do you think the word should be then? Like, if we don't like the word toxic, like, what do you think it would be like reasonable?
I think it's best that we refrain from labeling things in general. Like, even the word best friend, I don't necessarily like or appreciate because I feel like it puts like priority among friends. And when you come to a certain age, you're like 45, are you going to tell people, oh, that's my best friend? Like, you're 45, you know? So I think it loses its effect at some point. So I think right off the bat, when we remove these types of labels, like, you can just say, well, that person wasn't a good fit for me, you know, at that moment, at that time. Or you could say that we grew apart. Why does it have to be toxic? Why does it have to be best friends for life? Why does it have to be soulmate? You know, like, we're that like society or generation that wants it to be like extreme. It's all or nothing. Well, it's not really always all or nothing. So it's important to find the balance.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like in our days, like, we're very exaggerated.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
But it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And like it has become a trend. Being toxic is a trend now.
Yeah. And I think social media doesn't help with that. And I also think the TV shows that you guys are exposed to, the fashion you're exposed to, the music you're exposed to, the lingo you're exposed to, like, all of these things, I think they don't help. I don't think this is something you guys do on purpose. It's what you're fed. So you're reacting to what, you know, you've been taught or what you know. So I don't think it's like your generation's fault that you're extreme, but I do think there is a truth to it that when you guys get upset at each other, it's like the end of the world. When you guys love each other, it's the end of the world. It's Romeo and Juliet, you know, like everything is very like emotional and it's big, you know. It's good for some things. But unfortunately, I don't see that exaggerated feeling about things that are natural. Like, how can I explain it? Sometimes I wish you had, or sometimes I wish younger kids had that reaction to things that are basic, you know, like we're going to go over to our aunt's house, let's say. It's not like, it's such a downer sometimes for people. Like, I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
I do.
It's not just when it's surrounded with your friends and your love lives that it's like big. It should be big with everything. Like, oh my God, Harut Pambukchan is coming. Oh my God. Like insane, you know? That's the type of thing that I'm looking for. I'm looking for more enthusiasm, you know, from people.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
Your
But
mom
in
just
your
thumbs up to what I said.
I know.
It's perfect. I love it.
in your opinion, I just want to know, do you think that this issue, toxic friendship, wait, can I use the term toxic for
Yeah.
today?
I'm
Okay,
not the
okay,
toxic police. It's fine.
okay. Do you think it's like a more common issue around teenagers?
I think labeling it is common among teenagers, but I think adults feel it equally. Like, I don't think this is something that just happens to teenagers, because again, when we say toxic relationships, it sounds like juvenile or dramatic, and it sounds like teenagery. But I think if you ask any adult, everybody could relate to that feeling that there are people in their lives that they don't necessarily appreciate, or those people aren't doing good for them at that moment, or they were stuck in a relationship or a friendship that they weren't nice towards that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think even in adulthood, we are guilty and we are victims of toxic relationship, because it's just, you grow apart, you know. Or if I can give you my example, an example of my life during this pandemic, I've changed the way I feel towards some people in my life, because we no longer share the same values. No matter what those values are, there things have happened, and I've realized that I probably outgrew this person, and it's because of this pandemic. Had it not happened, I probably would have never realized it,
Yeah.
because it would have been camouflaged, or it would have been hidden, and like I would have never noticed it. But with this pandemic, it flared. So it's very hard for me to ignore it. So even now, where I'm at in my life, like married with a baby, waiting for another one, there's still people in my life that I don't know, you know, I might have to filter, or, you know, there are changes that happen constantly, especially with friendships. You grow, you change, and it morphs, and some of them you let go, some of them you keep until the rest of your life. So
Yeah. I think a lot of people went through that because of this pandemic. A lot of people
Yeah.
realized who they're really friends with and or not.
yeah,
They really are as well. Like, I
yeah,
feel like in this pandemic, they think a lot of people think it's very negative, and like we don't have. Yeah, it's a big part of our lives that changed, but
yeah,
in a way, it changed positively as well, because I feel like I know myself better than before.
yeah.
So like, I'm happy that in a way a bit. I'm happy that the pandemic like came.
Happened.
Yeah, at this time, so that like I didn't know like I could do this or something else, you know, like
For sure.
yeah.
It either like brightens you, it like highlights your qualities, or you figure out what your like negative points are, and you can work on them, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in your place right now. I always say it, I don't want to be a teenager now. I was very happy with my teenager life, you know. I think you guys have it hard. I don't think you guys have it easy at all. And I don't think people should dismiss it and say it's easy for this generation, you know, to be who they are, because it's not. I think you guys have a lot of pressure. And this pandemic, like you said, it could have a negative or a positive effect on you. But I think everybody has good days and bad days. And it depends on your day.
Yeah.
And, you know, this pandemic forces you to be a certain way, whereas you might not have been. So it's hard. It's very hard to be here.
And I feel like, again, most of us, we used to like, we didn't really pay attention to things that had more value.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of the pandemic, we started to realize things that we wouldn't necessarily realize it before.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like such as what, Mane? What are you referring to?
Let's say before it was more like friendship, and we wouldn't realize that some of them, like let's say toxic,
Yeah,
because you know,
yeah,
but and now it's more like we have more time with our families, so we can like put values to things that we wouldn't used to do.
yeah. And I think like basic things, such as like going to a restaurant, you know,
Yeah,
or
it was like such a
seeing,
big thing before.
yeah, or
Yeah.
like seeing people 3 dimension, you know. It's like my son, what I find interesting, every day we FaceTime with someone in our lives because
Yeah.
we don't want to lose touch. And my son has now started to be able to identify who we're calling by the name. He doesn't even read. But because we do it so often, like he knows that if it's 4 letters and it's like that, it's my mom. Or if it's like longer and it has that picture, it's my best friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I started realizing that this kid, he's like getting used to 2 dimensional people. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane, but it is what it is. It's temporary. I believe it's temporary. I don't think this is long term. And I think like as a society, I think also there's a lot that's being showcased because you have the people who are following the rules and you have the people who aren't following the rules, let's say. And I feel like it's creating a divide between the population who doesn't even know each other at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we don't know each other and we're like, what are you one of those who's like doing this, are you one of those who's doing that? So like I think it's really creating this toxic type of environment because people are tired, they've had it up to here, they're done, like they don't want to know anything about a pandemic anymore. If they could like swallow the vaccines they would, so just to be able to get out of this situation. So yeah, I think it's crazy times. I think it's like the turn of the century where we're really being tested, and I think there's going to be a lot that changes afterwards, even like
Yeah.
environmental wise and all of that stuff too. So I think it's all coming one after the other.
In a way, it's scary because like you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Like you don't know, maybe there's gonna be another global pandemic, or
For
like
sure.
I hope not, because like I can't live like this anymore.
I know.
I just want to go to a restaurant, eat food.
I just want to like be around people. I don't know. The
Yeah.
other day, someone said, I just want someone to blow on the cake and I want to have that piece of cake. You know? So like the basic thing, you know, like it's insane. Like, and if I think about it, how disgusting. Like people would blow on candles on the cakes and we would go at the cake. And now it's like, if ever anyone tries that with me, never, you know? But
We have a question in the
yeah.
comment. What would be your reaction if someone tells you that you're a toxic person?
Obviously it's shocking,
Yeah.
but I do believe that everyone could be toxic. Like I don't think, I think it depends on who you're talking to. I think it depends on what your state is in your life at that moment. I don't think it's impossible because the way that I react or say something could really hurt someone else. So I could think I'm a perfect person, but no one's perfect, and everyone has the ability to hurt someone
Yeah.
because you never know. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd be sad. So,
We have another question.
This
Do you
is
think
high.
do you think the pandemic had positive impacts?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to minimize the pandemic and say it was all positive because it was very negative. A lot of people lost their families, a lot of people lost their friends. A lot of things happened during the pandemic, but I do think, like Mane said, and like Kiona said, like there are things that come out that you start appreciating, and I think that's like a positive side to this pandemic, you know. When you appreciate your family and you didn't before, or when you appreciate doing the small things like going outside for a walk in the park, and that you didn't before, you know. So there's always a bright side to things. And I know last year when the pandemic started, everyone was like, oh my God, we're doing school from home.
Yeah.
Everyone was like super excited. And now it's like, I can't wait to go back to school. Like
Yeah.
now you appreciate school. So I think that's like a positive side, you know? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. We
I
didn't
also
expect this. We didn't think it would
yeah,
be
we
that
didn't.
serious.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
ever.
when they said we're not going back on the Friday, I was like, this has got to be a joke.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And then when it went through the year and the summer, and then we started with all of this, like one day yes, one day no,
Yeah.
symptoms, this, that. I was like, this is a sci-fi movie. Like when I see students walking with masks on the street, I just want to cry. Like it's awful. Awful.
Yeah. I also think everyone had a personal growth, like because of the pandemic, and I think that's a positive impact
Yeah.
from COVID. Like everyone was working on themselves mostly.
Everyone was making bread, you know, cooking up recipes and stuff. Yeah. Yes, I do agree.
In a
Because
way,
you have a lot of alone time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could have also been negative for a lot of people. Thinking too much, it could cause anxiety. You know, tomorrow when you guys speak to Miss Jessica, that will also be probably evident that me personally, if I have too much time to think to myself, oh my God, Lord help me. It's like I go into like a vicious cycle of negative
Yeah.
thoughts. Some people need distractions, you know?
yeah. There's another question here. But do these impacts outweigh the negative ones, like the economic?
Economy and such. This is something that is not my topic whatsoever. Hi, you know me. If we could remove money from the planet, I would. If we could operate without any money, I'd be the first one to be on that bandwagon. I do think if I speak about Montreal and if I speak about Quebec, I think the beauty of our city is the boutiques and the very specific stores and shops that are local. And I think if they're struggling, that's painful, because I think it's important to encourage the economy we live in. And for example, in regards to that topic, if I could find something locally, now I put in the effort to buy local rather than buy from a big brand name. So that is something that changed me, for sure. My clothes, my groceries, anything that I was gonna have made or whatever, I really try and find it from Montreal, Quebec. And if it's an Armenian, tant mieux, you know. If I could do that, even better. But before, I would just do what was easy, you know, Amazon, the next day delivery or whatever. But now it's more, I will focus to put the money in my own economy where I live, you know. It's unfortunate. It's sad for everyone. I think we're beautiful with the restaurants we have, with the shops we have. And if these things close down, I feel like Montreal is going to lose its charisma and its personality. And that's one of the reasons why I love living where I live. So I do hope that it picks up again and we give all these small shops the chance to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are different kinds of toxic friends and behaviors?
100%. 100%. Like, I think you could be toxic with what you say. You could be toxic with how you act. You could be toxic with the way you treat your friends. Toxicity doesn't exist in one shape or form. Like, someone could be really nice, but could be very harmful to their friends. So definitely it's something to consider, that toxicity doesn't exist in one shape or form.
For sure. And like, there's always different situations with toxic relationships, because like I've gotten like a relationship that was really bad and like it hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard for everyone, I think.
100%. And like you try to get out of it,
Yeah.
it has a way of pulling you back sometimes.
Yeah. It's like you get attached to it and you don't want to let go. That's the hard part of these things, because it's affecting you like negatively and you want to let go of it, but you also can't because you don't want to.
Yes. And at this age, I feel like popularity plays a role. I feel like a habit plays a role. I feel like expectations play a role. And I also feel like sometimes we blind ourselves to the toxicity and we think the positives are more than that toxicity that person presents to you. And I think also, I'll say this, it's a part of growing up. Sometimes with all of that hurt, you change or you learn about yourself, and in the future you don't make those mistakes, you know,
Become stronger.
Or you diverge away from that person, and you learn how to be okay with that toxicity, you know. So I think it has like an effect. But yeah, for sure. The key with toxicity is being able to realize that that person is no good for you. Or that person is harmful for you. If you don't realize that that person is harmful to you, and people around you are like, but you don't see what they're doing to you, that's where there's a problem. Like, how blinded can you be by this toxicity, you know, or this friendship, or what? It's like a drug. You're addicted, like you can't get away from it. If you understand it, if you recognize it, you can understand it, and then you can decide, how do I go about this? Do I stop being friends? Do I distance myself? Do I confront the person? Everyone has a different type of way you have to react, you know.
Well, how would you react? Like, would you like just stay there and hope they change, or would you confront them, or would you just try to leave?
I think it depends on how bad it is. Like, if I'm hating myself all the time, I hope that the self I am today will be able to be like, I'm done, thank you, like I'm over you. But if it's not to that extent, people don't change. Like, people change, but people don't change the way you want them to change. People change the way they want to change. So you can't expect that that person is going to know how you want them to change if you never tell them.
Exactly.
So if you're going to expect them to change, you have to tell them, this is what I need you to do. So I would maybe confront. I'm not a confrontational person, so I doubt I do that. I would probably work on myself to try and ignore or try and let that person not get to me. But by doing so, I instantly create a barrier. So that person is going to realize that I'm not the same anymore, 100%. So yeah, I hope I don't have people around me that make me feel bad all the time, every time, you know. If I do, it's sad.
Yeah. Someone asked, how can you realize if you're in a toxic friendship?
You feel bad constantly. Like, that person doesn't make you feel good. You say something, they look at you a certain way. You do something, they tell you. Like, everything's a negative thing, you know. They
try to control you.
And like, if you do something that's different from what they're used to,
they'll judge you.
They'll judge you, or you'll feel judged, and you'll probably be right to feel that way. I think you really have to be oblivious to not notice you're in a toxic relationship. I think deep down, everyone who's in a toxic relationship knows they're in a toxic relationship. They're just choosing not to do something about it.
Yeah, it's true.
I was in a bad friendship, and the worst part is that I knew that it wasn't like good for me. Like, I wasn't worth this friendship, but she was only using me.
She was always what?
She was only using me.
Oh, okay.
That was the worst part, yeah. And when I like isolated, well, not isolated myself, but like I like separated myself to that friendship. You know, in my opinion, like the worst part is like in a while, like a few months later, she texts you back and you don't know what to do. You know, like you can't really.
Yeah. I feel like that's the hardest part when you finally let go of someone
Yeah.
and then at a certain point they reach back at you and you're like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? What am I supposed to? Because a part of you misses them, but you know you don't want to get yourself into that again.
So you don't.
Yeah. You
You
don't.
know, like that's also something I wanted to tell
Yeah.
you guys. Like, as I said, people don't change the way you want them to change. People change the way they want to change. And people do evolve throughout time. So if at one time that person was toxic in your life, it doesn't mean they will always be toxic until the end of their lives. So I do encourage second chances, third chances. I do encourage that type of mentality because I think one of my values is that life is too short to hold a grudge.
Yeah.
So to me, nothing is too big or too bad to never forgive. But that's me. Other people see life differently. So if you ask me, if people come back, you can always give them that chance to be good to you. But you know, you're not a stupid person either. They come back second time, they come back a third time, they do the same things. You have to either put a distance between you and that person, or you have to no longer accept that person in your life and not call it a grudge or, you know, disowning that person, just being like, but we don't get along. We tried 3 times. Like, this is not who I want to be when I'm around you. So the concept of like them reaching back, you have to be strong. You have to be able to decide, okay, this is how I'm gonna behave, and you have to hope that it works out, because who wants to lose people in their lives, you know, especially if you have memories with that person.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And also at some point you start realizing there's nothing positive coming out of it, coming out of the relationship, the friendship. So it's like, why am I still
Yeah.
doing this if there's
Yeah.
nothing positive
It's
coming
cause
out of
it's cause you have expectations of them. You
Yes.
you
Yeah.
think how you want them to be, but you have to open your eyes. You have to see the red flags and see who they really are, and then you have to let go. And if they come back and you really want to give them a second chance, don't stick with them like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Keep your distance, see how things are going, and then if the person actually changed, then you know
Maybe
go
give
Good.
a
back to
second
being
chance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's good advice. Like, you can't be stupid about re-entering that friendship, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Fresh slate. Okay, but it was 2 months ago.
Exactly.
So
There's
Yeah.
another question. Is there a reason why some people are toxic?
Yeah. It could be someone hurt them in the past and that just triggered something and
Yeah, for sure.
they want to act upon or I don't know.
it could be jealousy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's jealousy, especially at your age. Sorry, in adulthood too. Main reason why people are mean to each other is because they're jealous. And jealousy isn't just one shape or form. It could be for different reasons, or there's something that you've done to them that they've held on to. They're paying it back to you, you know?
Yeah.
Could be various reasons. But it's not something you're born with, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not born toxic. So it's what happens. And then sometimes just people aren't good for each other, man. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, like there
Yeah.
are combinations that are just like heavy. Like, you see it sometimes. Like, I'm in class and I'll see people pair up and I'm like, but you're not good for each other. You're not bad people, but together
Doctor.
it's not a good fit, you know? You don't bring out the best in each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you bring out the worst in each other, when you're together and things aren't going right, that's a sign, you know?
Yeah.
You have to you have to be proud that people say, because of you I succeeded at, you know? Not because of you I'm failing at life, right? So
Yeah.
so
That's true.
I think it's hard though. Like, again, like, it's hard being a high schooler. no matter what the generation, you just want to have friends. No one wants to be alone, and you'll take it at any cost, right?
Yeah.
Like, I see people, they don't want to walk the hallways alone because that traumatizes them more than being in a bad relationship. You know what I mean? So I think people have to be okay with who they are. They have to be confident, and they have to be happy with who they are. And I think that'll give them the strength to filter out the people who are bad for them
Yeah.
at that moment.
And I feel like if you know you're toxic or being toxic in a certain like friendship or situation or relationship, pull yourself back. Like, you don't want to hurt someone. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Just distance yourself. Tell them, I'm not good for you. I'm really not. I see what I'm doing. And just don't get yourself into something if you know you don't have good intentions with that person.
Yeah, 100%. I have a hard time believing, like you said, that people want to be mean. You know, I don't think I don't think you wake up and you're like, okay, today,
Today I'm gonna be.
today I'm gonna be, you know, mean with a capital M. But like,
I feel like there's always a reason,
yeah,
you know? Like there's something happening in their lives that we don't know, and like maybe they're acting that way because of their history or because of
Yeah,
their
because something happened to them, maybe. Someone hurt them and it's still inside of them and they just project it on someone else.
100% accurate.
Yeah.
You're never the only one having a bad day.
Exactly.
So, but it's also important to express that too. If you are having a bad day, that's where mental health comes in. And you should be allowed to be like, I'm not having a good day today. I don't feel like talking. Like, there have been times where people have called me and wanted to talk, and I'm like, I'm not in the right mindset. Like, if I talk to you right now, I'm gonna cry. So I don't want to talk to you right now, you know? So like, I think it's important for people to understand their emotions. And I think it's important for people to be like, if I don't want to talk about it now, or if I don't want to deal with this right now, like, I'm not going to, you know?
Yeah.
So
I feel like a lot of people, they think they're all alone, you know, like,
yeah.
oh, I'm mad, but no one feels this way, you know, so I'm not gonna open up and like say what I'm saying, like what my opinion. But I feel like you should always speak to someone, because like there's always someone that it could like relate to you and
Yeah.
even your problems.
Yeah.
Like anyone you're comfortable with. Like Miss Alika, I'm pretty sure a lot of students came to talk to you.
I mean, yeah, you know, in that sense, yes. And already the fact that when they come and they talk to you, you know, they have it figured out in their head. Like when they're at the step of coming and talking to you, you know, they know what they want to do. They just want someone to say you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that's how it happens most of the time. But yeah, and it's always the same type of issue, you know, like everybody thinks their situation is specific to them, but it's the same, you know. And it's always about following your gut. That's what I find myself saying all the time. Listen to what your gut is saying, because more than your brain and your heart, that inside feeling that you have, that I don't know about this person, or I don't feel good about this, it's what you really should be doing or following.
Yeah.
So true.
So I think it's important to be in tune with that conscience right from the beginning. I think you should follow your gut all the time. It's helped me, but I don't know.
And do you think like people should keep an eye on these like types of relationships, like back to toxic
Other people, like new outsiders, or people in the relationship?
No, like in their own, right?
Yeah, their own.
What do you mean by keep an eye? Like monitor how it's going?
Not only one friendship, like just keep an eye on general, like on their friends, you know, if it's toxic with this person or this.
Like, look out for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even look at, like, even realizing for themselves as well.
Like, I think what's important to understand is you can always want to give advice to people, but they have to be ready to accept it.
Yeah.
That's number one. And if there's a lot of people, even at my age, that no matter how many times you tell them the same advice, if they're not ready to understand it or they're not ready to take that step, they will not, and you're wasting your breath.
Yeah.
The same advice goes back to you. Like, you have whatever you would advise your friends in a certain situation to do, you have to be able to evaluate if that's existing in your own life and if you're refraining from doing something or you're encouraging a type of behavior that's negative. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it's important to be on the alert. I'm not saying accuse everyone of being toxic in your life, you know, but I think there's a lot of that goes in and out of our lives. And we have to be aware and we have to have a good balance, because if there's more toxic people in our lives than good people, that means you're making bad choices at some point, you know? So you have to evaluate, like, where are you going in life? What is happening and why is this happening to you?
And like being around toxic people is not gonna help you. You're gonna feel bad. You're just gonna go down. Like
They're
you're
gonna
gonna
pull
feel,
you down.
yeah, you're gonna feel like you're not worth it. You're gonna feel like you don't belong.
Yeah.
Like you should really just get out of that.
Yeah.
Really, I think it's all about self-love and self-appreciation. Like that's what the pandemic really taught me, I think. Just appreciating who you are, because if someone doesn't like you or doesn't like the way you are, then okay, bye, the door's there, go. You don't need to try and change me. I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to be someone you want me to be. I'm supposed to be who I am,
Yeah.
you know? So
100%. I do think it's harder for some people to be that confident and to be that strong with their decisions. But it is something that I would encourage 100%. Like, know who you are, know what you're doing. People like you, they'll stick around. People don't like you, they will fade. And do not run after people who aren't putting in the effort to be your friend. That's one thing is that's one thing that sometimes I see in my students, that they try so hard to keep some friendships. If it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen.
yeah, it's very important to just focus on yourself.
Yes.
Because if someone wants you in their life, they're gonna stick around. They're not gonna leave you. But if they're planning on leaving you, then they're gonna do it either way. As much as you try to keep them around, at some point they're gonna leave. So just let them leave from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because they're not worth of your love, or like not worth of your friendship. Because the people who stay with you and always stick to you, like, they're the ones that are like going to stay together, you know, like, and that's the best part of life, because that's how, you know, like, we're gonna stick by each other, you know, and we're gonna like continue in the future as well.
100%.
And like, yes, maybe your friend said, "Oh, of course I love you. Of course I do this for you." But yes, words count, but actions count too. So
Yeah.
pay
More.
attention. Exactly. Pay attention to their actions as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
And again, don't take yourself out of it too. You are also a player in that situation. It's important to be rational and not just emotional and dramatic when it comes to these things. And the other thing that I wanted to also say, that when Kiona mentioned something, was people rotate in your life. Like, they come and they go. It's like a rotating door. It's nice to have stability, and you will have stability with like maybe 2 or 3 people in your life, people who will stay forever. But then you will have people who come and go, that teach you lessons in life.
Yeah, for sure.
And they leave. They come for that and then they leave. And it's totally okay to let go of people in your life as well. Like nothing is set in stone. Nothing is forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to be okay with that change as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
Let's
another.
say,
Oh yeah,
let's say
go.
if let's say you reach the point where you actually realize what type of friendship you have, and like let's say you're in a toxic relationship or something, how could you actually get out of it? How could you leave?
So the question is, do you want to leave? Or do you want that person to understand what you're thinking and change? So if you want to leave, you have to talk to that person to give them closure. Even if they're mean or toxic people, everyone deserves that, because when you leave people with question marks, it's harder for them to understand. And then you also doubt yourself, that did I give them the chance that they deserved to change? So if you're asking for my personal opinion, I would definitely, if I'm ready to leave, I would sit down and I would have the conversation, and I would be very clear as to how they make me feel and when and what they did to make me feel that way, and tell them that I need my time. I need to distance myself. And if you feel like you did something wrong, and if you feel like I'm right in any kind of way, and if you want to try, we can try it again. But until you don't understand or you don't appreciate my feelings, I don't want to have anything to do with you. But I would confront and I would say goodbye.
I feel like the biggest reason of why people can't confront it's because they know the answer, or they're scared of the the how they react to what you're gonna
Yeah,
say, and so they don't want to confront. Yeah,
that's true. That's why sometimes it's just easier to ride the wave than to actually go against it,
yeah,
you know. But if you're not ready to leave that person, then you have to change. You can't change people. You can only change yourself. So you have to try and change the way you are to adapt to that person if you're not ready to leave them.
yeah. We had a question. Being in a toxic relationship or friendship affects you a lot mentally. Do you think it's easy to overcome that effect when entering another friendship and relationship? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think any relationship affects us deeply, whether they were positive or negative. And I think it's because of our prior relationships, that we choose the relationships that we have in the future. I feel like people have patterns in life sometimes, and until they break that negative pattern,
Yeah,
it takes time, or it takes a lot of growth. It takes a lot of patience. So I do think, yes, it does affect you in the future. Um, but I do think also it's part of the learning process. So I think once, twice, three times, maybe you'll shoot yourself in the foot, but then later you'll understand. And again, when you're giving advice to other people, they have to be ready to hear it. When you're trying to give yourself advice, you have to be ready to hear it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be in the right mind space,
yeah.
to do it.
And your friends need to understand that you need time. They can't just tell you, leave that person, leave that person. You know they're not right for you. If your friend isn't leaving that person, let them be. When the
Yeah,
time comes, like they'll do it if
yeah.
they need
Yeah.
to.
Or they'll ask you, like,
Yeah,
They'll ask you, what do you think I should do?
exactly.
Yeah,
literally.
yeah. Because I feel like a lot of the time, honestly, it's time that people need, and it's progress. When you're getting better at something, you don't get better overnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Same thing with relationships. Just because it's not a talent, or just because it's not an exam you're studying for, or a sport you're trying to audition for, or whatever, doesn't mean that it's easier.
it's
It's
feelings and
life.
emotions.
Yeah, and it's a lifetime of you creating that persona, and now you have to be completely different. So it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What is your reaction if you see two people having a toxic relationship?
Step back. It's a nuclear bomb waiting
Yeah,
to explode.
I feel like if that person doesn't come and asks about your opinion, don't share your opinion. You don't want to be the bad person. You don't want to be that person who's trying to break up a relationship or a friendship. You don't want to be that person.
No, 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 no. If they ask for your opinion, you give it. They don't ask for your opinion, you zip the lip. I mean, you could, if it's really bad, I mean, if it's abusive and if it's
Yeah,
bad,
okay.
you step in. But if it's, you know, relatively handleable, you try to point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
There's only so much you could do.
If they don't get the hint, leave it.
If they don't see it,
Yeah,
you just gotta let it go.
exactly.
They will have to learn.
By themselves.
Yeah.
That's the worst part. By themselves.
That's the best type of learning, though.
Yeah, it is. But it's the hardest one, you know? Like, it's
For sure.
Yeah. Do you have a question?
Basically. Okay. Do you have
Okay.
personal experience?
We're
Like,
spilling the tea. No,
yes.
I'm kidding. Personal experience. Look, I'm not gonna play the victim. I'm sure I was toxic at some point for someone too.
Yeah.
If I remember, oh, Vami, I'm gonna cry. I'm emotional. Don't do this to me. For sure, 100%, I've hurt people along my way and along my path unwillingly. I'll say that very, very honestly and genuinely. My intention is never to hurt people. I hope that I haven't hurt more people than I've helped. But like I said, you could be in a mind space where you say something or you do something that hurts someone, and I might have realized it at the time and not cared, or realized it too late and had to like mend that friendship. I do think that there have been people around me that didn't bring out the best in me. And I do think that along the years, I've been able to distance myself from that type of situation and not have it repeat. And right now, where I'm at in my life, if people bother me or if they do things that aren't up to my values or they don't agree with the way I am leading my life, I do find the way to tell them. Because I've learned that if I don't say anything, I'm taking it out on myself. I come back home and I'm angry. I come back home and I'm impatient. I come back home and I'm overly emotional. It's only doing me harm. So now I've promised myself my mental health break. I promised myself that if there's something bothering me or if someone's doing something that is infringing upon my rights and my freedoms, I'm going to tell them. Because by staying silent, I'm not changing anyone and I'm not helping myself either. And especially with this pandemic going around, like, oh my God, I don't have time or I don't have patience. Like, I have a toddler running around. I have a husband who works from home. I'm waiting for my second child. Like, I don't have time for this. You know, if you're no good for me, you're no good for me. So, blah. Kevorka, I miss you too. You're so cute. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. Okay. See, I'm saying it. Otherwise, I'd hang up and I'd be like, oh, I miss everyone.
We miss you too.
Yeah, we miss you. So,
oh, I miss you guys too. But this was good. This was a good fix. It gave me a little taste of what I'm missing. So yeah. Don't.
Everyone's gonna close the call and go cry now.
Yeah. Be right back. Mental health moment, you know.
Yeah. Wait, it's coming out. Wait.
Dean, what is the name of your second child if it's a boy?
It's
same.
Taj. That's the name of my second child if it's a boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's decided.
You know,
We're giving him a mental health break. So we're going to agree with what he thinks is right.
yeah.
For sure.
are you
This
okay?
was good. This was like very like cleansing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like I have things to do now. Texting people. I have people to text.
That's right.
I have things to say and
Yeah.
I need you to hear me.
Hey, I need to talk.
I need to talk, ... You live. But anyway.
Yeah.
So it's good. So
Oh,
are
yeah.
you guys excited for the rest of the year and like how the SHTV is progressing?
Oh, that yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I won't lie. This is pretty fun project to be working on. Kudos to Mr. Liu.
Yes.
Applause all around. It's very good.
No,
Yeah.
but it's hard work as well. Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
It
there's
takes a
lots
lot
of
of our
things to
time.
do.
yeah. So,
And I'm sure the organizing of it and everything is like consuming as well.
Plus,
But
we can't interact with the other classes.
Yeah.
Taking videos, you have to like, one day it's online, one day it's not. So you have to schedule everything.
you guys are like learning so much with this pandemic and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like subtle things that are creeping in and you guys are learning to do and juggle.
Yeah.
It's good life skills.
it is.
You're getting there, guys. You're growing up. You're Sec 4 going on to Sec 5. Like, it's real life.
Yeah.
How bari bet ke khasan.
Yeah.
But yes,
come on.
Yes, Captain Kiona.
We need more advice. Come on.
Well, I'm always available. That's for sure. You
Yeah.
guys know I'm available I'm at the tip of your fingers. So never hesitate. I'm always here for you. If you need a mental break, no matter if I'm pregnant, on mat leave, or wherever, you guys can always reach out. It would be a pleasure to help you and guide you any way I can and know how to.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
So
Yes.
welcome. Thank you for considering me for tonight's live. I really did feel very privileged, I have to say, and it feels good to be back in contact with at least some of my students. Once my student, always a student. So
Yeah.
I do appreciate that. So so thank you for giving me a taste of what I'm missing. I know it's crazy and I know it's hard times, but we're all growing together and we're learning together, and it's a learning path, and you guys are on the right track. So it's good stuff.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay, and so we're gonna end the live. Thank you everyone for coming. I hope you learned something. I hope you realize you have toxic friends and end them.
And there's a lot
Get rid of that toxicity. Life is
Exactly. Work on yourself, work on your confidence, and glow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Nice seeing you
Bye.
guys. Thank you for
Bye.
the lovely
Bye.
comments.